What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler and today I'm talking about the top 5 upcoming Ultra Boosts. Elephant in the room, this is obviously a different studio, or I guess different room in the same house. I got really tired of that last backdrop and I realized that there was another room that was just filled with junk that if I cleaned it out I could make it like a much more controllable studio lighting wise, so that's why the switch happened. There might be more changes in the very near future, we're just gonna have to wait and see sort of how I like this setup and how everything works. But bear with me, let me know what you guys think of this new backdrop in the comment section down below. It's not finalized yet, I'm just kind of trying something different, trying something new, so that's what's going on here. But thank you so much for tuning in today. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't yet. Also make sure to give me a follow on Instagram and on Twitter at RealSethFowler. But jumping into the actual content of the video itself, as you guys know, I've been a long time Ultra Boost fan. The Ultra Boost silhouette has always been one of my top favorite silhouettes of all time, and that's mainly because I think it looks great and also it's incredibly comfortable. That's a combination that's surprisingly pretty rare when it comes to sneakers, so to have them both in one shoe is just an incredible thing. And unfortunately, because the hype of the Ultra Boost has died down, it seems like there have been a lot fewer Ultra Boost releases, and especially ones that I could get excited about. So I figured now would be a perfect time to talk about the Ultra Boost that I personally am very excited about and the shoes that you guys can look forward to copying in the very near future. So without further ado, let's jump right into the list. The first shoe that I want to talk about is kind of an honorable mention, mainly because we don't know what it's going to be yet. And the shoe that I'm hinting at that you guys probably already have figured out is just the next Ultra Boost. I did a video recently on a shoe that leaked last week, and it seemed like a shoe that could have been the Ultra Boost 5.0. The more information that I've learned, it probably isn't, but it's something that's still interesting to take a look at. So if you want to check out that video and haven't seen it yet, make sure to click the link at the top of the screen. But whether the next Ultra Boost is that or another shoe altogether, I'm just super excited for whatever it is. If I'm completely honest, the only thing that I'm worried about is that they're going to focus more on performance than actual aesthetics, which is very understandable and probably very likely because it is of course a performance sneaker. But I always love the fact that the Ultra Boost stayed pretty much the same from year to year, other than some prime knit pattern changes and maybe some color changes, because I just love the way the shoe looks. But of course we're just gonna have to wait and see. I'm super excited to see whatever it is that Adidas is coming out with, and I'll let you guys know as soon as I do. Number 5, the Bape Adidas Ultra Boost. So starting things off with probably the most hyped sneaker on the list and my least favorite on the list, we've got the Bape Ultra Boost. As we saw with the Bape NMD that dropped back in 2016, I believe, the shoe collaboration was incredibly popular. Even though the hype of the Ultra Boost has cooled down a little bit, it's still an incredibly popular sneaker, and of course it's more popular than the NMD, which means that a Bape collaboration on this shoe is going to be an instant hit. The biggest thing that differentiates this Ultra Boost from regular Ultra Boost is of course the Bape prime knit pattern on the upper. And that's the part of the shoe that kind of bums me out a little bit, because I don't think the Bape logo really works too well with the prime knit pattern. Because the camo pattern is knit and not printed, it doesn't look as smooth and as clean as it did on the NMDs, which were printed. So because of that, the entire knit pattern looks very, very pixelated, which I really don't like. To me, this shoe kind of looks like a bad fake, and I don't mean that in a bad way, it just doesn't look as clean and as resolved as most collaborations usually do. As much as the prime knit upper defines the Ultra Boost, I think this would have been the one shoe where they maybe should have tried something a little bit different. Maybe they could have heat press on the pattern like they did with the undefeated Ultra Boost, or maybe they just use a completely different material on the upper and printed it. Those might not have been the most durable looking uppers, but this knit pattern, as much as I love prime knit, just doesn't do it for me. Of course, besides the prime knit camo, you've got some Bape touches around the sneaker. You've got the Bape logo on one of the tongues, and then you've got this very bright metallic gold midfoot cage. Both of those details are fine. I'm not a huge fan of the metallic gold midfoot cage. I feel like it's a little bit too corny in my personal opinion, and a lot of times with those metallic finishes, they do scrape off pretty easily, so I personally would have preferred maybe a black midfoot cage in a leather or something like that. But it is what it is. Maybe this isn't a final prototype, maybe that'll change, but I know a lot of people that really like the way it looks, so I might be in the minority. As for things that I like about the shoe, I like the blacked out boost, I like the simple heel counter, and as much as I don't like the pattern that was actually knitted on the upper, I like the fact that the entire upper seems to have one solid kind of knit. Meaning most other Ultra Boosts have some ventilation holes or some texture on the knit pattern, but on this particular shoe, it looks like it's just a completely flat, smooth surface. And that's different. That's something I'm actually interested to try out, so we'll see if I can actually grab a pair to review. This shoe tentatively drops on February 2nd, 2019, but as we know with a lot of sneaker releases, that date will most likely change. So if you're interested in trying to grab this sneaker, make sure you're staying on top of release updates because they probably will change a couple times before it actually comes out. Will this shoe be easy to get? Probably not. It's probably going to be one of the more limited Ultra Boosts and probably the most exclusive Ultra Boost on this list. Number 4, the Kinfolk Adidas Ultra Boost. This shoe is an interesting new take on the Ultra Boost 1.0. It's got a full navy upper with pink hits, which I actually think play off each other very nicely. Not only that, but the dark blue midfoot cage is also painted with navy accents, which I think look great. But my absolute favorite detail about this shoe are the nubuck accents. The heel counter and mudguard of the shoe are covered in these sort of grayish blue nubuck panels, and I think that gives the sneaker a super premium feel, which I think looks great on this Ultra Boost. In addition to that, the prime knit pattern, while from a distance does look like an Ultra Boost 1.0, if you look closer, there are some differences in knit. I know that seems like a very minute detail, but I feel like it's very important to look at when we talk about this collaboration. The area of the shoe that usually has ventilation holes is actually just covered in a thicker knit that comes in a different color. So you still get that sort of arrow-shaped pattern on the toe from the 1.0, but it's a little bit more winterized than regular Ultra Boosts. Maybe winterized isn't the right word, but it definitely seems like it's going to be a warmer shoe for the colder months. The Kinfolk Ultra Boost drops on November 10th for $220, and if I'm completely honest, it shouldn't be that hard to get. Number 3, the re-release of the Cream Ultra Boost 1.0. When this shoe initially debuted in 2015, it was thought to be extremely limited and a friends and family only, but then it received a wider global release, which to be fair wasn't that wide. It was still a pretty limited shoe. The Cream Ultra Boost has by far been one of the most popular Ultra Boosts to ever release. One, because it's a great looking shoe and that cream upper looks incredible, and two, because it's always been one of the most coveted Ultra Boosts. And back in 2015, I happened to grab a restock of the shoe, in fact, 2 pairs of the sneaker on the restock, and I sold them both. $250, which was $20 over retail. And less than 6 months later, the shoes were reselling for between $400 and $600. So I screwed up. And now Adidas is making me relive that screw up by re-releasing the shoe, except this time as a general release. So for everyone out there who missed out on the first release, or if you're like myself and sold the shoe for stupid low, you have another chance to grab the shoe, and I can guarantee you it won't resell for anywhere close to what it used to, but if you like the shoe, at least you can rock it. And that's what I'll be doing. I think it's a great looking sneaker overall. I'll definitely be rocking it around, and hopefully I can grab a pair this time. Of course, it'd be funny if I couldn't, but honestly, it shouldn't be too difficult to grab because, like I said, the shoe isn't as limited as it was before, and of course, Ultra Boost hype has died down a little bit. So if you're trying to grab this pair, it drops on November 21st for $180. Number 2, the Game of Thrones Ultra Boost House of Targaryen Dragons. I want to preface this by saying that I'm not a Game of Thrones fan. I've never watched Game of Thrones. I know a lot of people love it. It's not that I don't like the show, it's just I haven't taken the time to just binge watch it for hours. So while I have learned some of the characters in the show just from general pop culture, and I sort of know generally what's going on, I don't really follow it. However, the reason this Ultra Boost caught my attention is because it looks great. This is like one of the best looking Ultra Boosts to drop in a really long time, and if it wasn't for the next pair, number 1, being as great as it is, this pair would have by far been number 1. This shoe sports a black, red, and orange prime knit upper, which of course is supposed to symbolize the fire coming out of the dragon's mouth. And the way Adidas actually implemented this inspiration on the upper looks incredible. I absolutely love the way this shoe looks. Not only that, but the shoe also features a black leather midfoot cage, which I just think looks incredible. There are of course some other Game of Thrones touches, like a dragon's crest on the tongue and a fire and blood tab sewn into the back of the sneaker, which I don't think has ever been done on an Ultra Boost before, so I'm interested to see how that actually looks on foot. I know it's a small detail, but it's one that I noticed as soon as I saw the shoe, so it's something that I think will draw a lot of people's attention. But damn man, that upper looks so dope. I just love the way they knit the prime knit together. I think that's one of the best prime knit patterns I've ever seen. If you're not a fan of red and black, there are going to be some other Game of Thrones Ultra Boosts releasing, but this one was by far my favorite, so this is the one that made the list. This sneaker's tentative release is April 2019 for $180, which I believe lines up with the next season of Game of Thrones. Adidas did such a great job in the shoe that I don't even care about Game of Thrones, and I still want this shoe. Number 1, the re-release of the OG Ultra Boost. This is the shoe that started it all. This is the shoe that I first learned about by watching Fomer Simpson's review of the sneaker, and this is a shoe that I've always wanted to grab, but I couldn't because after people started getting really hyped on the Ultra Boost, the resale prices of the sneakers skyrocketed. This is the original 1.0. It's got that black and gray prime knit pattern that you just can't do any better than. It's got that mesh heel section, which was eventually phased out in the Ultra Boost 2.0, and of course the signature detail of that shoe was that purple heel counter. There's not much to be said about this shoe that hasn't already been said. This is the beginning, this is the alpha, this is the one that started it all. It's the Ultra Boost OG. If you do want to own a piece of streetwear history, this shoe tentatively releases on December 31st for $180. But that about wraps up the video for today. I would love to know your thoughts on the Ultra Boost listed in today's video, and if there were any that you think that I missed, so make sure to leave those comments in the comment section down below. Of course, don't forget to give me a follow on Instagram and on Twitter at RealSethFowler. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe down below if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.